today we're talking about the power of community, whether it's possible to build loyal followers in a noisy world.
Followers don't really matter anymore, and it's all about how quickly you grab attention, you hold attention, and make people come back for more.
There's a difference between like connecting with your audience and therefore developing a community than just pouring out content for someone to consume. Welcome to the Social Edge podcast. I'm Georgia.
And I'm Isho.
And today we're talking about the power of community, whether it's possible to build loyal followers in a noisy world.
And that's it. In a world full of so much noise, community is absolutely key. And this is something I think a lot of businesses and personal brand content creators are, I think, striving for a lot more. And today we're going to unpack the conversation. I'm very excited about this one because it's really an organic conversation that perhaps many people don't really talk about. But it'll be awesome to chat through.
Yeah. And we see it all the time, the buzzword community, but what does that really mean? And what is the difference between communities and audiences? So why would you say communities are more powerful than audiences online?
I think it just really comes down to connecting with people in a way where it doesn't go down specifically for a transactional relationship where you're putting something out, you're getting something in return, and that's it. You want it to be almost the connection over consumption. You want people to come in and really feel like they belong as part of your mission, your vision, your journey. One of the things that, we always keep going back to, for example, your personal brand, you want to go on a journey with a specific group of people that perhaps will resonate with what you're going through.
And take them on that journey.
That's it. And really go through it and really see how you are dealing with motherhood and perhaps some of the struggles.
Yeah. So what we're saying is there's a difference between like connecting with your audience and therefore developing a community than just pouring out content for someone to consume. So like by comparison, Netflix is a content platform where we just consume content, but we don't have any form of connection with the characters, the actors. We don't engage with Netflix. Obviously, Netflix has its own way of engaging us, but there's no sort of like dual engagement in the sense of like a community. Take then the other side of content, video content, YouTube. Because it's a social platform, there's an ability to build a community. You can subscribe, you can comment, you can get notifications. So that's the difference, right? Absolutely. Is that what we're saying?
Absolutely, 100%. And I think the part of building a community is really creating a space for people to come and share their perspective on the back of what you are talking about and creating. So, back in one of our episodes, we talked about for anything that you're putting out there, you should be ready to receive positive or negative feedback. So,
you're basically saying it's not about just consuming content. When you put something out there on social media to build a community, you're expecting engagement.
That's it, 100%. You want people to show up and kind of jump on the bandwagon of whatever the topic is and kind of bring their 2 cents. Because also that would inspire you as a content creator to go, oh, these people really wanting to converse about this. And maybe on the back of that conversation or commenting, another topic or further conversation can almost like begin,
Yeah. So it's a conversation.
That's it.
It's like
a conversation.
You've opened the conversation by producing that piece of content and putting it out in the world. And now you're opening that conversation to your audience, and which is your community, and you want them to engage with you. That's awesome. So what do you think about, like we've touched on this in other episodes, like there's a feedback loop. So when you're talking to your audience, which is your community, they're not just an audience like in Netflix where they are just listening and not able to sort of react. I suppose we can react on Netflix. We can or we can keep watching the series, for example, or we can stop watching the series. So we indicate our like preference.
That's it.
But there's no actual back and forth other than like reviews and things, but you know, they don't really care as long as as long as that, like, I'm sure that Netflix have like a number of views that they want to get, like a watch time, how many people continue a series, and then I'm sure they decide then based on how much viewership it had whether they're going to release the next series. But absolutely, talk to me about the feedback loop in communities then.
I think when it comes to communities, it's all about direct feedback. It's you know, you post something today and you get comments, you get likes instantly. Yeah. Everything is about the tip of your finger right now. You know, the good thing about social media is getting the instant feedback quickly.
Yes. Right? So it's direct like insights. As well, there's the sort of like, because of the feed process of a social media platform, it's like new post on the feed, new video on the feed, new post on your profile, new post on your channel. Or new video on your channel. So it's like, it's become like something new, therefore it requires like instant engagement.
Absolutely. Yeah. And this is why I think it's so important to recognize when you post and with what intention. So for example, I don't know if you've noticed, I was listening to, we mentioned Alex Hormozi too much on this podcast, but he popped up on my, he is right now, he's the trender when it comes to consulting in all capacities in marketing. But one of the things that he was talking about recently on a podcast was the fact that followers don't really matter anymore. And it's all about how quickly you grab attention, you hold attention, and make people come back for more. Whether you have 5,000 followers, 100,000 followers, 5 million followers, you know, so long your content's performing for people watching it at mass amount of numbers for a long period of time, your content will be pushed to probably more than the amount of followers you might have.
And I think, though, it's interesting, isn't it, when we position this in terms of some of our prospective clients who might have personal brands with products or services or a digital product or businesses who are looking to make sales. What you're saying is, like, when you put that reel out, for example, and maybe you have ads running on it, you are trying to push them maybe to your funnel or whatever it is you're trying to push them to, the sales page. You're less concerned then about whether that person goes and follows you. You want them to buy the product and then become a client, and then you'll target them through other marketing tactics. That's it. But I think then on the flip side, for creators or content creators or people who are putting out informative content to inspire, engage, educate, you are going to want to build that sort of community because you care. Nurturing, right? Yeah, you care about that building of presence. Well, it depends what your strategy is, because like some people will build their presence online. We have some clients, they'll build their presence online, then they'll hit their community with like their new digital product. So it might be a new course or a new ebook or whatever, a webinar or an event, you know. So they'll hit that community then, and that community responds because they're already engaged. They've experienced their content again and again and again. We've touched on this before, like eyeballs and how many touch points you've had. So they've had all these touch points. They have this new touch point. Then they get a sale. I remember someone saying it to me. It's like jab, jab, or like jab, jab, hook.
Yeah,
like, so
that's it. Absolutely.
Jab, jab. That's like your like value,
that's
hook, sale.
That's
it's like
100%.
Maybe for some people, it's less about community. It's more about getting those sales in quick. Yeah. But then for some, it's about building that sustainable community.
Longevity. I think one of the things we talked about in our previous episode was talking about longevity. And community, I think, is something that I think is quite attractive to brands that are looking to be around for a long time.
Yes.
You want people that come into your community, one, to feel that they can trust you in what you say, what you bring to the table, what you offer. So when you continue to evolve, we talk about evolution always when it comes to content creation, they already know, Isho, Georgia, create with these studios, they have proven that the product that they offer, the service that they offer is so good and so valuable. Therefore, it's more likely anything new we might introduce for them to listen to, not just hear about.
So I like this because it lends well to like previous conversations we've had, and like what some people use as a strategy, which is to build their personal brand and then build their business brand alongside it. But if you've built that community from your personal brand, if say you then in the future wanted to launch a new business or a new concept or a new idea, you've already got that engaged community that are going to reciprocate. You know, we spoke about in the past about how like sometimes if you've already got a platform, it's easier to sell from that. Absolutely. So I get what you're saying. It's about building that community, building that presence, building that respect, that authority, so that whatever you then go on to sell, you've got more longevity because you've built that community.
But in a sense, it begs us the question, do you think there is, and we're going to go back to authenticity a little bit here for a point, is do you think when building a community, authentic community building is key rather than having the premeditated thought of, I'm going to build this community so it can be another sales funnel? Do you think people can differentiate when they're treated with a fake attitude or whether they truly feel like they belong part of a community?
I think like there's a lot of reasons why people do the things they do. There's a lot of reasons why people are building personal brands, and there's a whole load of personal reasons why they're doing it. Ego,
of course.
Desire, but maybe there's other reasons. They're thinking they can monetize it in the future, or maybe they just have a real heart to share something with the world. So many different reasons, and everyone's will be unique. Not all are bad, not all are good. Like, you know, there's a mix. But I think what is interesting is that provided I think you are being true to yourself, we've touched on this in the authenticity episode, provided you're being true to yourself or your business or your like real image, your brand image, provided you're being true to that, then what you put out should be representative of what you can deliver or what you're about. Therefore, there's that ability for it to sort of last the length of time, grow with you, develop with you. You know, we touched on previously how sometimes, I know we're going back to a lot of conversations, but this topic seems to overarch a lot of our previous conversations.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think the point is there's a lot of people who might start a personal brand around a specific topic and it doesn't age, you know, like it works for them for a season and then the season changes and they need to pivot. I experienced that myself. But you know, at the time I didn't know I was going to experience that because I didn't think I was like leaving law. But not to keep bringing it back to that, but it was like, that's my example of where I did that, you know, and I had to figure out, do I just ditch this account or do I see if this audience wants to come onto this next journey with me, even though I've pivoted. So I think I had to then communicate that in an honest way of that, like I'm figuring it out and I've had to go on a journey, and if you want to continue the journey with me, then you can. But like, that's it. That was my truth. Now, I think there's a lot of people who maybe are putting stuff out there to their communities and then they might struggle to maintain it. We talked about burnout in a previous episode as well. You know, they get burnt out and they can't then keep up with their community and the community's expecting more and more. And then there's the whole other side of it, which is when like, you know, I know like there's going to be influencers with huge followings and they probably receive like the pressure of their community. You know, the community expects such high standards from them, and then they feel let down if they're the person that
stops or takes a pause. Or,
But I think like you just have to also like protect your mental health, do what's right for you.
I mean, we talked about Selena Gomez, for example. You know, when she disappeared,
take a break
from social media. She's done it quite a few times, and I think it comes down to realizing that actually we're human at the end of the day, and it's okay to feel and go through seasons where you just don't feel like it. And I think even when you don't feel like it, but you must create content, be honest with saying, hey, there are days, and this is, you know, we're spoken about close friends stories on Instagram specifically. You can bring people in the journey on the back end to tell them, hey, there are days where I show up and I jump in front of the camera and it's not about how I feel, but it's about a discipline of pushing content. So there's a balance. That people need to find. But let me ask you about this, because I think it's really interesting to dive into it practically for the listeners that might want to take a note here. what do we suggest to content creators or business owners who want to create a sense of belonging online in a community? What does that look like in a community setting?
Yeah. So I would say it comes with like resonating with your audience. So you want the people that follow you, whatever it is that you stand for or whatever it is you're trying to convey, your message.
Yeah.
You want your community, your followers to have like a shared vision, a shared mission, shared values, shared beliefs.
Yeah.
Because, or a shared goal. It can be a shared goal as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's about that community like feeling connected to you and therefore going on the journey. Flip side of that, there are people with communities who like have nothing to do with them. They just enjoy their content, right? So there's like, there's TikTokers, there's YouTubers. We talked about Emma Chamberlain in another video. I don't necessarily think a lot of millennial or Gen Z girls will relate to her because they live a similar life. But generally, a lot of girls or a lot of her followers, they're not all girls probably, but a lot of her followers won't necessarily relate to her. They'll just enjoy watching her life. So I think there's a balance. Like for people who are putting out certain messages, you're going to want it, depending on like the type of content you're putting out, you're going to really want people to resonate that message. And then like, let's flip it into like businesses, because like some businesses want to create engaged communities. Well, if you're a service-based business, you want to target people who want those services. So like, say you're a business that does training, courses, events geared towards people who want to become property experts. Like you're going to target people who want financial freedom, people who want to use property as their way to exit their 9-to-5, people who want to build wealth. You know, so it's got to be people who are looking to go on the journey of growing in that and property's the means to do it. So you're going to target a people with a specific mindset. So I think it's really important to therefore be clear on what is your business brand, what are you trying to achieve? Because then you're going to target a community that are trying to achieve those things with you.
Sure. But then that also makes me think about the audience or the group of people that perhaps are not quite sure the thing that they need, or of the aspect that they saw an ad, they saw your product, service, or community, or whatever it is you're building, the value of that, and gone, oh my gosh, I didn't realize I needed this until I saw or heard what you're talking about. So let's touch on this a little bit.
Like, how do you cast the net?
How do you cast the net wide enough to open the mind of people that perhaps didn't think they needed the thing?
Yes.
But not far enough to capture all of the people that will waste your time and bring perhaps the negative backlash of the back of the thing that they don't really need, they don't care about.
By understanding what you are trying to sell or what you're trying to put out there.
Unpack that.
And like, so by understanding what your offering is, you can then niche down who are your target audience, who's your ideal avatar. So
let's break down niching down just for some of our listeners that might not really understand niching down.
So I suppose it makes sense to use an example. So if you are an entrepreneur who has built wealth through property investing. Let's just use that because I've just been on that train of thought. So you've built wealth through property investing. You now want to share with the world how you built wealth through property investing so that you can bring others on that journey. Right? So your niche is people with enough capital, or if you're going to like give them a tactic that's like, how are they going to like leverage other financing? It's got to be someone who's got drive to want to build wealth, someone who's got the desire to do that. Plus you're going to want to target someone who either has access to capital or is willing to find, like, work with your strategies to get access to capital.
Yes.
And then what you're going to do is you're going to define your niche. So like, you're defining your niche. Your niche is people who are looking to find financial freedom. then your avatar is going to be like, you're going to have a set group, like you might have 1, 2, 3 avatars. So it might be like someone in their 20s to 35 who is working a 9 to 5 or corporate job, has some savings, wants to break away from the 9 to 5 or build financial freedom. Exactly. And so you'll define your avatar, and then you're going to create content around your specific avatar, their pain points, the things that they need, the things that they're struggling with, the ways that they can work around the fact that they don't have that extra capital. So you're going to create, if you're casting your net and you're trying to target a wider pool, you're going to still be clear enough in your messaging that you're excluding people. For example, like you won't therefore be targeting someone who is already wealthy. You wouldn't be targeting someone who is in university. Well, in general, there's going to be an anomaly to that. But you're going to target your niche, your specific target audience. And by doing that, you're going to then create content around that so that you can sort of pull people in, and then that person will decide, are you for them or not? So when they catch your reel on their feed, they're going to then click on your profile and they're going to be like, oh, this guy's or girl's interesting. They're going to check through your content, and then they're going to go, oh, I'm interested in learning more and their content engages me enough, therefore I'm going to follow them. Now they're part of your community. Do you see? And that community can deepen and deepen. So you've got just followers who may be just like relating to some of your content, and then you've got people who are going deeper into that journey.
And this is why I think it's so important to be able to take people behind the scenes often. You know, we touched on broadcast channels before, close friends stories. One of the things that I guess also is not talked about a lot in this space is nurturing people. Oftentimes for somebody to convert from a cold non-follower to a follower to then a community, dedicated community team member or member of your community, to then be actually doing the thing that you're suggesting or you're coaching on or advising on, to then potentially sell, there is a time frame in which you need to be very considerate of the content you create, but also the call to actions you allow people to step into. You know, depending on what business you have. If we're talking specifically to businesses, you have different tiers of products, different tiers of offerings. To be able to let people into a sneak peek of what it could be,
or an offer,
to then have them gain that confidence in you, that you have the credibility, that you will take them through that journey and have them succeed at the point that you've promised.
So I think that touches into like the idea of what we sort of said at the beginning, which is it's about a conversation. You're meant to engage your community, build trust, interact. You know, you can do that through like Ask Me Anythings on like Instagram, TikTok. You can respond to comments, respond to your community comments in YouTube. Like that response. And not just generic stuff, but actually properly responding.
Really thinking through.
It will make people feel valued. And then there's like ways you can do this. So like if someone leaves a comment, you can reply to the comment as a new reel or as a TikTok, and then it'll like show the comment and then you respond in a video. Some people utilize that feature and it can work really, really well because it shows you're taking your audience's thoughts and feelings and questions seriously, and you actually taking them on that journey. You're not just posting out and like spewing out content. You're actually like engaging with you. You really are engaging.
I mean, it just makes me think, you know, in one of the other episodes we talked about, for example, mental health, and we talked about, you touched on Hailey Bieber and how she's got a lot of negative backlash in her comments and how you often would jump to her defense. How great will it be if one day, you know, she responded to a comment or DM'd you and said, hey, Georgia, thank you so much for... that will create such a moment for you to then be like, wow, she genuinely saw, heard, and was really appreciative. Therefore, I know she's somebody worth following because she authentically is herself. That would mean...
And this is the thing, without being like a fangirl of Bieber, the thing is, it's the idea, isn't it, that like, you know, why did I do that? It's just because I was like, well, she's a human being. I value the sanctity of marriage.
Yeah.
I feel like people should respect the fact that she's a married woman, you know, and who she's married to, and the fact that they have got married. And, you know, I don't know.
We're not diving into it.
Actually, we're not diving into it because that could cause loads of backlash on our podcast. But, you know, what I'm trying to say is there was something that made me want to like
Engage
say,
with
why
that,
are you
right?
doing this? You know, and there's obviously, I'm not the only one. There's lots of people who do that.
Yeah.
And I only did that one time, but just so everyone doesn't become a weirdo. But yeah, I only did that one time. But the reality is if you are engaging with your audience and then you're engaging back and then doing things like that, you're going to like actually use social media in the social way that it's meant to be. Yeah. But obviously, like there's this whole debate now, is social media even social? Well, I would say that there's a huge incentive and people are trying to keep that community aspect.
Absolutely.
Now, do you need it is the question. Like, do you need it for sales? The answer is probably not 100% of the time, but it's going to help. You know, if you're building a brand, if you're building a business brand, it's going to help you to develop that community. Is it the be all and end all? No, there's other ways, you know, advertisements, good like call to actions, good sales tactics, good marketing plans, great funnels. You can do all of that. Yeah. But it's going to support you in your vision. It's going to support you in your growth to develop that sort of community aspect as well.
It's running with the current though, isn't it? It's like a river. If you jump swimming in the river against the current, you will move, but you wouldn't be moving as fast and have the same momentum as running with the current, right?
Yes.
In the same way, social media is just another current that if you jump into it and you do it well, it's just going to help you build more momentum, have more speed, and create broader awareness of your brand. That's really the simplicity of it.
Okay, so let's move on. What do you think is the secret to turning followers into loyal fans? So, you know, what's the distinction? Because, and let me give you some examples.
Go for it.
I follow, like on my personal account, I follow like a load of different people. Some things I follow just because I want to keep updated with their content. Sure. Yeah. Some people I follow like, and I actually, you know, I engage with their content. I watch what they're putting out regularly. Yeah. And then there's like my friends and things. But where do you think, how do we make that jump? So our clients listening, you've got a personal brand, a business. How do you turn those followers? You've got maybe thousands of followers, but they're not buying from you. How do you turn them into being actual loyal fans?
This is one of those questions where everybody thinks that they're doing the right thing, but then they're not really. And what that means is giving more than you take. Let's put this into example. Let's say you're a business consultant and you have a course somewhere where you're taking people through and you really want them to sign up with you and you want to have a great retention with them, to stick around. But prior to them buying in, you're not giving them, for example, so-called free value, things that they will take from you for free, implement, see a result, a return on investment on, to then go, oh, I want to jump with that person and now invest more money because I know the value is there. Yeah. So we have this mindset that if we just talk about the thing but not show the process of the thing to an extent, people won't sign up or sign in or get involved in the community. So I think giving more than taking,
it's important.
It's important, will create longevity, and ultimately will increase your credibility to say, okay, this guy's not out here trying to just make money on the back of people who may not see the result. He's actually here to make a difference, which takes us back to point one, vision, mission, value.
Why
what do
you
you
do
want?
what
Exactly.
you do. And like we've worked with clients in the past who have just been like every post, sale. And it's like, your audience really doesn't want that, and they're not going to buy from you if you do that. So instead, it was like that jab hook thing.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's also like, you know, you need to be more thoughtful in how you're engaging with your community audience, because people know if you're just out there selling versus if you're out there to sort of build community, if you're out there to give something, if you're out there to receive feedback, open the conversation. And people are picking up on that. I agree with you. So another way like people have used content to help turn followers into like actual fans is using the thoughts of other people who've already experienced their product. So like,
so not reinventing the wheel, right?
Yeah, and like user generated content. So you know, some of the big brands that blew up on TikTok, so products, for example, like I can think of some, like, you know, like High Smile. It's like a toothpaste. Yeah. The Willy Wonka one.
I tried it. As soon as it came out, I bought it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I haven't tried it.
It didn't work for me, just FYI. If you guys want to send me another brand kit, I'd love to.
But yeah, the Willy Wonka, like it was everywhere. It was all over TikTok.
Yeah.
Then they were just blasting out like a lot of UGC, like user generated content. And it was helping them in their sales. So give an example to like our listeners. How could they use like UGC, or how could they obtain UGC and utilize that to help share their story or share their products or share their services? Like how's a good way to do it? Because I've also seen, like I've worked with clients and I've experienced like people who want to keep using UGC only, and then they realize that, well, I've had to help them realize that actually too much UGC is actually damaging, because it's like, you can't just keep putting out testimonials and expecting that to produce results. You need to sort of like be strategic in your use of testimonials. So give me your thoughts.
Yeah, big question. I think we need to take a step back and actually consider, number one, are the things that you're putting out as part of that piece of content, are they really authentic? Are they people that have tried the thing, seen the result, and actually
they just wanted to share?
They just wanted to share? Or is it, hey, I'll give you a $50 Amazon voucher if you just did this, and then they filmed the video, it looks really fake.
Yeah.
There's no difference in the thing, and then every single video after that is the same energy, the same thing.
Okay, so I like this, and then it's like Trustpilot, right? So
that's it.
You know, people put a review on Trustpilot because they just genuinely wanted to give a review. Like, are you a good reviewer?
I'm a brutal one.
If you give a review, it's brutal.
It's really brutal. It's very honest. If it's good,
do you go for a meal and give a review, or
no? I think it comes down to anything that's like $500 and above.
You would review.
I would. Anything below, no, because then it comes down to I really spend time considering the thing that I'm gonna do or go to really well. Like, I would consider what I will spend the money on. So if I truly don't think it was worth it, I would consider, okay, what about it wasn't good? So maybe if the review was seen, it will improve the process for the next person, or maybe for when I revisit.
I've experienced things in my life where it's like you do something and then like, or you pay for a service, and then they're like, you have to give a review. Like they put the phone in your hand.
It's the testimonial version of it, isn't it?
Making you sign in, and then they're making you give a review, like a written review. Yeah. But like in video format, it's like you have to give a review. Yeah. Now, I agree. It's like if someone's like coerced into giving a review, it's gonna not resonate anyway. Yeah. So how I think it's the idea is that using user generated content needs to be done sparingly and strategically. And if you can actually like if you can go to your clients, we've done this, go to your clients and say, hey, we've been working with you for some time. Yeah. We love everything that we're doing for you. Yeah. Would you be willing to do for us a short video testimonial
of what you think we did great? Yeah, why you
enjoyed your experience and why you continue to work with us? That's it. We'd really appreciate it. You could do that, and you could do it like annually, like not to the same people over and over, for sure. But like you could ask like, or you could set up a system within your business. So once someone's been with you more than 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you could then ask them to if they would be willing to give a review. You're going to most likely get a better piece of content back then.
Because you're improving, you're evolving, right? And the thing is as well, this is the thing that I want to touch on, because some people maybe on the personal brand side of things that might want to start something that will require perhaps a lot of reviews and a lot of people to contribute to that. You can use your friends and family. You can say, hey, I send High Smile to my mom just to see if she'd like it, and her response wasn't so great. Yeah. Send it to my sister. She loved it. Okay, let's get a little clip of her actually truly loving it, what she loved about it, and getting that process underway, and then broadening out the circle, her friends, and so on.
I want to talk into this then, because I feel like where I've seen brands doing this really well is where they've helped they've really got their message right, and then they've built a brand like around a product or a service, and then they've built a cult following around that. So a good example of this is Gymshark. So you're a gym buff, you know this.
I love a good Gymshark hoodie.
Yeah, I've got some Gymshark clothes as well. But Gymshark are really good at working with like influencers over a long period of time. Like they would have worked with the same influencer for like 5-10 years, and they build like these fitness enthusiasts. They work with fitness enthusiasts who advocate for the brand. So they love the Gymshark clothes, of course, because they are great like fitness wear.
Oh, 100%.
But
yes,
it's more about like being part of that Gymshark community, and they help share
the FOMO, right? We talked about FOMO.
Yes, FOMO.
You almost feel like you're missing out in the sense of if you don't have that brand. And I have a few points to touch on here. One, it will be, okay, how do we go about that? If you are wanting to be part of a community and want people to believe behind your product or your service, you can always discount inviting them to the thing, right? You can say, hey, we're trying to build this brand. We want to create a community that truly people believe in. We'd love you to be a part of it and help us really build momentum behind it. We'd love to give you a 40% off on a first purchase and maybe make you an ambassador, right? That will create some sort of, I'd love to, this is a great opportunity for me to create exposure for myself, but also get a discount and be part of a community. That's kind of the idea of what Gymshark did, right?
Yeah.
But on the back end of that is creating the FOMO of like, oh, I don't have the funds, but even if I did, I wouldn't wear Gymshark. Like there are cheaper brands that are, still premium quality. And it's like, it's probably not true.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're not getting the same, when you walk into the gym with like all things Gymshark, you kind of have that confidence. You have the walk, you kind of embody it. But if you wear something cheaper, you kind of like, I don't want people to see it's Boohoo Man or whatever it is. No offense to Boohoo Man, but do you know what I mean? Like, do you catch my thought?
Yeah. 100%. I want to touch on something that's close to my heart.
Go for it.
The Swiftie community.
Oh, here we go.
A revolution, really, because Taylor Swift, right, amongst all the artists, of time, like obviously songwriters, singers, bands
producers,
tend to have like good following, bands and singers, but she did something like different to pretty much the rest, right? Because she managed to build like a fan base that was far beyond just like fans. It's like a worldwide community of people who are like, wear it like a badge of honor. I'm a Swiftie. Now, like, I started liking Taylor Swift music back when I was year 7. So that's like 2007. Yeah. And so I always considered myself a Swiftie. When the Eras tour happened, right? I went to the Eras tour, of course. And my friend and I, we got tickets. We were so excited. It's like a bit of a lifelong dream.
Yeah. It's on the bucket list, right?
It's on the bucket list. And we went and we were like, I was like, I'm a real Swiftie. Like I have followed her. I listened to all her albums. I've loved her since the get-go. I think she's a genius. But like compared to the Swifties, like those ones that are like die hard and like, they collect all the merch, all these different things. Like I felt like I was a bit of a low-key bad Swiftie. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
I'm not, obviously. But what I'm trying to say is she has managed to do something revolutionary in building that fan base. Now, not many people can parallel with Taylor Swift, and I'm not saying that. But I think there's lessons to be learned in how she strategically navigated all these seasons. Like when you think the Eras tour is about the many eras of Taylor Swift, right? So she's, from the Red era, to Reputation. That was like, she'd had that whole thing with Kanye, and then she was like, I'm going to come back with the Reputation album. And like, to see another side of her, she transitioned
You're
from
proper
country.
Educating people, by the way, on this whole journey.
She transitioned from country to pop, know, and she like did this whole journey. Yeah. She took the same fan base through it all. What an example of carrying people through your journey and being
diversifying in the same time.
Collecting more fans along the way.
Wild,
and then getting to the end. Like, I don't know if you went to the Eras tour. You didn't, I don't think. But
I was there.
But so many people who weren't Swifties went to the Eras tour because it was the thing. It was like on, like it was just, it was FOMO.
Oh my gosh,
people just wanted
100%.
to go because everyone was going.
Yeah.
It was worldwide. It was massive. It was all over social media. And it was like, even if you weren't a Swiftie, you went because it was so great. And then she put on such a great show, walking through all those eras.
Oh my gosh.
So wow, it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm going to try and pivot this back.
Yeah. Let's bring it back. What do you think is...
She was the reason she's been able to retain that great fan base, I think, part of it is because she's walked people through that journey. She's taken people with her. She's kept like true to herself, but also carried, like, being willing to change. The whole evolution of a person thing. Like, a lot of, like, I'm sure a lot of artists struggle with, like, they become an artist at like 16, 17, 18. And then their audience expects them to continue to do the same music for the rest of their life. Well, that's just not, like, humans change.
Yeah,
humans change. Sure. Like, the songs I like to listen to when I was 12, I don't like to listen to now, generally. I have different tastes. So I think why I'm saying all this and why it's come up is, like, when you're building your online presence, I think if you can allow people, if you can create space within your brand and within your, like, business to allow for that evolution, and then when you do want to make a change, as long as you communicate that change, you know, you communicate that you're going in a different direction. Even like businesses, right? You'll, like, a lot of online businesses will have like an offering, so they'll have like their key offer, right? So it might be like a done for you offer, but then sometimes they'll release a done with you offer, right? So they'll release something that's a lower ticket offer that's like, they're not going to do all of the work with them, but they're going to help people so that they can cast a wider net, right?
And eventually convert them, right, to the main thing that they are known for.
Yes.
Right.
But, like, by doing that, by pivoting, you know, as long as you're communicating your why, and you don't have to explicitly always do that in terms of your sales tactics, but as long as you're taking people on that journey and creating the space for them to step into it, you are going to be able to retain your audience, aren't you? Your
100%. And I think what I want to wrap this point up with is touching on the consistency aspect of that and creating yourself to be a reliable source, somebody that people will follow and can trust, that will produce the thing. You know, you can diversify as much as you want, but people want to know, will you come through the thing that you're saying? For example, if I come up on social media every single week and I have a new song and a new tone and a new vision and a new whatever, people are going to trickle down.
Yeah, they're going to get confused.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point to avoid confusion. You need to be semi-consistent, but you can bring into new ideas, new concepts, new sales processes, whatever it might be, as long as you're clear and communicate that well. So I think what we're trying to say is, if you're a brand or a business, if you're growing on socials, by building a community, you're going to build something that lasts. You're going to be able to build something that, if you do decide to pivot, that community is going to come with you, provided you communicate it well. So we're encouraging you that if it is the future of marketing, it is the thing to do. You don't want to go against the current.
No.
Go with it.
That's it.
And give it a go.
Give it a go. The best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time is today. We're going to keep repeating it because it's important. And don't be scared to start. Set up the camera, press record, and see what comes out. But until then, I think there was a lot of valuable nuggets in this one.
Yeah, this was an interesting topic, but we hope you guys liked it. This episode was sponsored by Monster. No, I'm just kidding.
It wasn't, but
Ishi bought me this at the start of the episode, and I feel like I needed it.
we needed it. We need to be wired. But hey, listen, there's a lot more content that's going to be coming out. We'd appreciate a like, a subscribe, maybe drop a thought, leave a comment. Would love to know how this content resonates with you and perhaps is helping you on your journey of content creation or perhaps your business. Until then,
see you next
time. See you on the next one.